Hey, what is up, everybody? It is your boy, Sneak Geeks, Carlos Sanchez, coming at you with another video. In this video, I want to talk to y'all about Bitcoin. And Bitcoin, is it a good investment? Is it something worth getting into and getting involved in? And if it is, and why does it matter? So, if you remember, back in the day, I made a video, as you can see in the background, this video that's playing. Alright, there we go. So on the top, that's and I was mining back then, and this video I put together in 2013, and I was telling people about Bitcoin back then. Bitcoin, I think, was probably hovering at about $200 back then, the price of Bitcoin, and Bitcoin went up as high as touched $8,000 in certain markets, and then it kind of came down, and it's about at $6,500, as you can see here from this website called coinmarketcap.com. So from 200 to almost 8,000, and now it's kind of stabilizing at 6,500. So why is it important, and is it a good investment? So I just want to show y'all some articles that I came across today, specifically. And here's one article, and this article is about a comment made by Tim Draper, billionaire. And he says that fiat currency, that is the paper money that you and I use to pay for taxes, is going to be laughable in 5 years. That's a big statement. But this guy also is an early investor. He bought Bitcoin. He spent, I think he spent like 20 million, and now it's gone over, it's increased by 1,000% since he first purchased it. So this guy, why should we listen to him? He was an early investor in Skype, Tesla, Twitter, among other things. And so this is, and he's just one person out of many, that are saying why Bitcoin matters and what's the impact is going to be in the next few years. Bitcoin is a digital currency. So a lot of people are trying to understand what it is. It's digital cash. Cash, just like you have paper money, it is like that, but instead of being paper, it's digital. Another article that I want to point out, and this is, you could just Google millennials and their feelings about Bitcoin, because this is just one article in Forbes, and 30% of the millennials that were surveyed say they rather invest in Bitcoin than in traditional stocks or bonds. And this number is only going to grow. My generation and the generation before mine, they primarily invested in stocks, bonds, and gold. And we thought that gold was the best investment. But it's an interesting thing about gold is that it is a good store of value, right? In that it holds its value, but it doesn't necessarily go up in price. About 2,000 years ago, there was a comment made about gold and say, with an ounce of gold, I could get me a good suit. That was about 2,000 years ago. Today, with an ounce of gold, again, you can still buy yourself a good suit. So it's held its value, but it hasn't really increased in value, right, over time compared to something like Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. To understand, and I'm going to try to make this video as quick as possible, and then I'll give you some additional follow-up videos. I have another YouTube channel called Bitcoin EZ, with the letters EZ, Bitcoin with the letter EZ, that I get into more technical details of Bitcoin, making this video just for more like for beginners. And to really understand the implications of Bitcoin and what it's going to mean for the future, people need to get a grasp of what money is, right? And most people don't know what money is. All they know is that they earn a dollar, and they don't go out there and spend it as quickly as possible. In 1 year, that dollar is going to be worth 92 cents or 93 cents of buying power. So, so people don't really understand what money is and why money came about. So knowing that, I'm going to show you an image that I have here, some images, real quick. So it's going to be a quick lesson and what the properties of money are. And the properties are scarcity, divisibility, portability, durability, verifiability, and fungibility. We don't have any of that right now with fiat currency. And fiat meaning it was created by governments, by just declaring it, by either a dictator, a congressional body, a prime minister just creates it, right, by saying, okay, this is money. So there's really no way to verify our money and how much money there is, how many dollars, for example, how many there are in the supply of dollars. You can't go anywhere and Google and say how many dollars actually exist today, but you can do that with Bitcoin. You can go and find out exactly how many Bitcoins exist today, how many existed a year ago, and how many is going to exist in the next 10 minutes, and how many is going to exist in the next 100 years, and so forth. You can't do that with anything else. Mankind has never had anything like this before. What's being created with something like Bitcoin is a new internet. A new internet is being created. It's also the fifth disruption of money as far as money as we know it. Let's see if I can move on. Early on, money, right, was seashells, right? Seashells represented money. And money was created to keep track of who had what. Because prior to creating money, people were just bartering, right? They were trading. You have one cow, I have 50 chickens, let's do some trading. You have some wheat, bushel of wheat, you have some corn, let's do some trading. But there was no way to keep track, so that's why they created money, to keep track of who had what. And that's pretty cool if the ledger, the database that keeps track of that, isn't something that can be inflated artificially due to political concerns of having to create more aircraft carrier or more nuclear weapons, so we need to print more money. Or we need to bail out the banks, so we need to print more money. Once that comes into play, then all bets are off, right? It's no longer a good way of keeping track of who has what. But that was the first iteration of money, with something like seeds or beads or rocks and stones. And then we had, so that was the first iteration of it. And then we had gold, right? Gold and silver, precious metals, gold coins. I would say that's the second, right? Or the second disruption of money. I would say the third disruption of money that came about was paper money, right? And paper money was the third disruption. And when paper came about, it became a lot easier than carrying around ounces of gold to do your trading. So that was pretty cool when that came out. And then after that, we had plastic. And, you know, it's interesting because plastic, it took a long time for plastic to take hold. A lot of people, when plastic came out, credit cards came out, people thought it was a scam. And a lot of people didn't participate in the plastic economy. But it was really helpful in the way the economy worked back then, that people mainly ordered by going into a, purchased things by going into a store, or by ordering something in a catalog, by this, like a Sears catalog online or JCPenney catalog. That worked pretty well for plastic. But once the internet came into play and it became plastic, they were trying to take a technology, a form of money that had been from a bygone era, right? Something that was pretty much obsolete, and put it into a new era, i.e. the internet. And as we all know, the credit cards don't work very well on the internet, and that's why you're constantly hearing about hacks, right? And our information being exposed, like the most recent being Equifax, that 1 out of 2 Americans' information has been exposed to hackers and so forth. So it's not a good form of money when it comes for using on the internet. And what the internet did for information, that allows people to trade information freely, instantly, with anyone, anywhere in the world, that is what Bitcoin is doing. It's a new internet that's being created. It's an internet of money. It's a layer that's going to go on top of the internet as we know right now. And again, ability to trade value with anyone, anywhere in the world, instantly. And that's huge. And that takes a while to wrap your head around, because understanding what money is, and if you have the ability to create money at whim, as our systems do now, our political systems and corporate systems have the ability to create money freely, you have control of everything. Doesn't matter who your politicians are, doesn't matter who's president, who you're voting in for Congress or senator, who your king or your dictator is. None of that matters. If you have the ability to create money, you have control over everything. Education, legislation, music, entertainment, everything. Books, everything that you think you know, what you think who you are and what you are in the world is something that's been given to you by the creators of money. Now we have this new money that's out now, and it's taken the world by storm. It's called Bitcoin. And I've been involved in it for a while. It's completely changed my life radically. I just got back from London and then Malaysia teaching Bitcoin, right? Because Bitcoin is not something you can learn in a university. There aren't any courses that you can take or degrees that you can get in the Bitcoin or the cryptocurrency space. It's something that you have to learn on your own, and you have to teach yourself. And that's on purpose because they're trying to slow down the adoption of it. As long as they slow down the adoption, the powers that be can then try to have a majority stake in it. But the genie's out of the bottle, and it's only a matter of time. As long as people like me and others keep sharing the message of there's a new game in town, a new form of money. And when there's a new form of money, again, it takes a little bit to wrap your head around, but everything changes. Everything. Who you are, how you see yourself in the world, and how you see yourself in comparison to your relatives and your family, and what that means, all that changes, believe it or not. Because we're conditioned before we're even born to have a belief of what money is. Because our parents were conditioned and our grandparents were conditioned to believe what it is and to understand and its understanding of it, and what their relation to the earth is, and what their relation to other human beings are. All of that has changed and is changing. So you got to get on board. Stay tuned for my other videos. I'm going to put you on some additional things that I'm doing to make Bitcoin and to grow my cryptocurrencies. Kind of check in the description below. There are some links that I highly suggest you take a look at, but I'll go into more detail later and share some more of that information. So that's it, everybody. Thank you for watching the video, and make sure you stay up and stay tuned and don't sleep. The future is here, and it's Bitcoin. Peace.